Content warning. Tone Deaf is rated explicit for mature content and strong language. Spoilers are in every episode, so if you haven't seen the shows we are reviewing, you can always check back in later with us. We'll be here when you get back.
Welcome to Tone Deaf, a theater nerd's guide for their musically challenged spouse. I'm Kay, a musical theater nerd.
And I'm Warren. I'm musically challenged.
Doesn't it feel good to be done with, Christmas movies and stuff, and to be on the precipice of 2021? Looking over the edge and going, it can't... Wait, where's something wooden? Here's something wood. Here's something wood. It can't get worse than 2020.
See, I feel like that I am standing at this precipice, and there's all this fog, and I'm like, it could be a footstep down and into, the Great Valley, or it could be a footstep down and a sheer drop into a spiky, molten cave full of horribleness. And
yes.
We're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yes, we are.
Just gonna have to wait and see. We're kind of living in a Schrodinger's New Year type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a good New Year. It's gonna be a bad New Year.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Oh man. So, that being said, thank you all for joining us for this awesome year of Tone Deaf. This crazy year, this wild as fuck. What the fuck was this year even?
The longest year, I think, in human history.
Yes. And I want to bring up something because I don't really talk about this enough, but, I feel that this, it sucks that we haven't been able to see anything live, at a theater, but that did afford us some opportunities to look at movie musicals, which still count.
Yes.
They still count as musicals, and so I'm showing you, through this journey, all of the ways that you can still experience theater without being in the theater.
The theater.
But that's to bring about that we are watching another adaptation for film of this time it's a stage play, so instead of a musical, but I don't care. It's August Wilson, so we're gonna do it.
It has music in it.
It has music in it. It's about music, sort of. We are going to be talking about August Wilson's play, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
As presented by Kay's Black Bottom.
Ow. So, I kind of struggled with how I was going to present this one to you. Because on the one hand, I want to tell you all of the ins and outs of this play. But I also want to save some of that for February for our all ages shows, because this is an important show. And we'll get into that in a moment. But I didn't want to throw you in head first. So the way that my presentation is, we're going to talk a little bit about the playwright. Again, more detailed will be done most likely this February. And then I want to talk a little bit about the play itself. And then I want to talk a little bit about Chadwick Boseman. Because it's been long enough that I think I can talk about him without crying. We'll see. A caveat, though, when I was doing my research on Chadwick Boseman, I realized we're going to have to dedicate a whole episode to him, and possibly multiple episodes to him, and I'll get into that.
Oh no, I don't want to talk about one of the coolest people that's ever lived.
Yeah, I'll get into why, specifically for our podcast, talking about Chadwick Boseman would be a very good idea. So, let's first talk about the playwright. So this will be And before I get any further, I was going to talk a little bit about Ma Rainey, but there is actually, and we're going to have the trailer for his show in the intermission, but there is an amazing episode on One Mike Black History podcast all about Ma Rainey, the actual person that is a character in this play. Please go check that out to learn more about her. And also just check out One Mike Black History podcast anyway, because it and Black History Buff are the two best history podcasts that I've ever listened to. Like, they're just, it's mind-blowing. So, there we go. That's that little introduction to my introduction. To the introduction.
I've been introduced.
You've been introduced. All right. So, now I'm going to introduce you to August Wilson. He was born April 27th, 1945, as Frederick August Keitel. He was the child of Daisy Wilson, a black cleaning woman, and Frederick August Keitel, a German immigrant. He had 5 siblings and was the oldest of the boys. Daisy did most of the work caring for the children, partly because 1940s and partly because the older Frederick was mostly absent. August Wilson's childhood was mostly spent in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and his first 5 years were spent living in a 2-bedroom apartment above a grocery store in the Hill District, which was a predominantly black, Italian, and Jewish neighborhood that was economically depressed. Due to his biracial heritage, he and his siblings had a very difficult time because they didn't fit in with any of the cultures in the area, and it was something that he talked about struggling with until later life, something I kind of gel with too. And it does show up a lot in his works, that issue with what is my identity, because I don't fit in with the folks who I look the most like, but I also don't fit in with white society either, or with what will eventually be considered white society. So it's very much a struggle that shows up in his plays, and we'll talk more about that later, in February most likely. So it wasn't until the 1950s, when his mother divorced Frederick and married David Bedford, that he left the Hill District to live in the predominantly white neighborhood of Hazelwood. You can imagine the hostility his family faced here. At one point, a brick got thrown through their window because here's this interracial family in a white neighborhood. So,
gotta share that good Christian charity.
God. So all of his childhood shaped the Pittsburgh cycle of plays. There are a series of 10 plays that August Wilson wrote, each set in a different decade of the 20th century. And this is where most of his famous works are from. They include Fences, Ma Rainey's, The Piano Lesson, Jitney, all shows that I do want us to cover at some point. So after his father's death in 1965, Frederick August Keitel changed his name to August Wilson to honor his mother. He also discovered Bessie Smith, who was a blues musician, and began to write wherever and however he could. He wrote on a $10 stolen typewriter for a while that he kept pawning whenever things would get too tight. He would write on napkins in the back of cafes. He would write just on whatever he could get. And he began to work on his voice. He began to... His style is very unique. And again, we'll cover that as we get further into his plays. In 1968, he co-founded the Black Horizon Theater in the Hill District with his friend Rob Penny, and his first play, Recycling, was performed for 50 cents a ticket. This was also where Jitney, one of the plays in the Pittsburgh cycle, got its start. Unfortunately, this theater dissolved in the 70s, but the New Horizon Theater was founded in the 90s as a tribute to it. So, now on to a little bit about Ma Rainey's. It is, like I said, it's a part of the Pittsburgh cycle. It was first sort of staged. It was sort of workshopped in 1982, and it's the fictionalized account of the recording of the song Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is a self-titled song by the actual blues musician and one of the creators of the classic blues, Gertrude Ma Rainey Pridgett. And she wrote this music. She wrote this song. Again, for a biography of Ma Rainey, go to One Mic Black History podcast. Go listen to that one. We're mostly focusing on the play itself rather than the actual person, because I feel like Mike did a very good job on covering Ma Rainey herself. Now, Ma Rainey's is not a musical, but I don't care. We're doing it. So the stage play is going to take place in 2 locations. It's a band room and a recording studio in 1927 Chicago. Now, this will be changed for the movie, because it's a movie. Movies, generally, you want to move to multiple locations. So, much like August Wilson's other plays, this will explore racism, with this one emphasizing struggles that black recording artists have to deal with the white producers, and something that's still a thing to this day in every goddamn field. Every field. Music, theater, it's not immune to racism, as we've talked about a lot in this podcast. Doesn't matter where you are, it's going to pop up. So,
it's like the world's worst version of whack-a-mole.
Yeah, it is the world's worst version of whack-a-mole. This will be the second play of Wilson's to be brought to film by someone who we both adore, Denzel Washington. In fact, he has been quoted as saying, "I'm just here to take care of this man's work, put the best actors and directors around it, and make the movies," when he was asked about the fact that he's basically preserving Wilson's memory and legacy. Because without someone there to make sure that this gets seen, it would go the way of the anonymous lover. And so the fact that we have folks who can...
You mean go the way of the anonymous lover by being like just swept under the rug and forgotten because racism.
Yes. And so because we have people proactively trying to preserve it and immortalize it in film, which is a lot harder to sweep under the rug than having the folios of a playwright suddenly disappear. I mean, now that we're even in the digital era, it's even easier because it's not like we have silver nitrate that explodes. It's easier to preserve.
Once it's on the internet, it's there forever.
Exactly. Nothing dies on the internet. And Denzel is a hero in a lot of ways, including being a hero for another hero who I wish so badly was still around to continue making his impact. Chadwick Aaron Boseman was born November 29th, 1976, in Anderson, South Carolina. He was the son of Carolyn Boseman, a nurse, and Leroy Boseman, a textile worker. He practiced martial arts, was on the basketball team of T.L. Hanna High School, but it was in his junior year when he started getting into theater. He wrote a play in his junior year after one of his teammates was killed, in commemoration of this teammate. It was called Crossroads. This is what led to the transition from basketball to theater, with his college career beginning at Howard University. Originally they were like, "Oh, are you going to go in for basketball?" And he's like, "No, I'm going in for theater." And at Howard, he wrote his next play, which was Hieroglyphic Graffiti. He was mentored by Felicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable. For those who don't know who Felicia Rashad is, and she and Denzel helped pay for him and his classmates to attend Oxford's summer program at the British American Drama Academy. Boseman originally wanted to be a writer and director, but his studies of acting, so that he could better relate to his actors, led him down the acting path. He studied Shakespeare, Beckett, who wrote Waiting for Godot. He studied Harold Pinter, and when he was in Ghana, during his college career, he worked with his professor on what he called one of the most significant learning experiences of his life. He worked to preserve the rituals there and present them on the stage.
That's cool.
Yeah. he had the same desire that honestly a lot of us have to connect with these roots that have been severed and can't easily be reconnected. After all, after a certain point, all that our family history is lists for a cargo ship. Names, villages, languages, cultures, we all lose that tie. That's a very black diaspora experience, and Chadwick even mentioned at one point, referencing this, he identified a lot closer to Killmonger, but had to T'Challa his way through life.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Whew. All right, I can do this. He first graduated with his bachelor's from Howard in 2000. His career began in Brooklyn, where he was named a Drama League Directing Fellow and directed George C. Wolfe's Colored Museum, a show that I'm planning on covering next year because I friggin' love that show. And George C. Wolfe is actually going to be the director for this. So it's kind of this, it's a little bit of a bookend for him, that one of his first real professional gigs was directing one of George C. Wolfe's plays, and one of Chadwick Boseman's last performances is being directed by George C. Wolfe. Mm-hmm. So it's whew. So he worked for the Schoenberg Center for Research in Black Culture as an instructor from 2002 to 2009, beginning his acting career in 2002 with an Audelco Award for his 2002 performance in Urban Transitions. His work was a part of the hip-hop theater movement, which I want to see if we can cover this year, with his plays Hieroglyphic Graffiti and Rhyme Deferred being parts of it. And I want to say Hieroglyphic Graffiti is the one that's, like, more experimental than even the experimental hip-hop theater was. Like, breaking even more boundaries. I was going to go on, but like I said, I want us to do a whole Chadwick episode and a whole series of Chadwick episodes because I don't feel like I can do him justice in just this episode, and I also want to try and find copies of his plays so that we can cover them one of these years. This is his final film role. Not ready to say goodbye. Glad that he's immortalized in film, though. But damn, I am lying if I say it doesn't hurt that we lost him before he could do even more. And this isn't just even film and theater. He was an amazing human being. The more that I learned about him, the more my heart really breaks, because I feel like we didn't appreciate him fully. Like, he was very philanthropic. One of his last acts actually was to donate $42 million in PPE to hospitals in black communities that were being hit hardest by COVID.
It's amazing.
And he launched Operation 42, the Operation 42 challenge to encourage that donation from other communities. So, like, when we say it hurts losing Chadwick, it hurts. And of course he's been in, not just with Black Panther, but he was amazing even before that. And God, I remember finding out he was cast as T'Challa and just being like, holy shit! Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, he's amazing! And, damn. It's rough. And, like, this whole cast is powerhouses, but his is the one that's gonna hurt the most of seeing. This is the first time that we'll be seeing this version of it, because it is brand new on Netflix, so y'all go watch it. Go watch this one. Definitely Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is not a biopic. Like I said, go check out One Mike Black History. to learn about the real Ma Rainey. This is more of a dramatization and dealing with a way to show the struggles of being an artist at that time. And
being an artist of color.
Yeah, being an artist of color, especially a black artist, because it's a very different... It's a different dynamic with each different group. But August Wilson put a lot of emotions in his plays. You deal with rage, you deal with heartbreak, you deal with struggles, but there are uplifting moments too. And that's why I really like August Wilson. So, and August Wilson passed back in 2005. When I do a full biography on him for a February episode, we'll talk more about him. But, I need to have us do an intermission. Do you have any questions before we go watch?
I'm good.
Okay. Let me get some tissues. Let's go watch some Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and do a toast to Chadwick. Let's go. Hey, Warren.
Hey, Kay.
Do you know what time it is?
Is it time to thank our favorite people in the whole world?
Heck yeah! Today, we would like to thank our stage crew sponsor, Jasmine Wu.
And our producer circle sponsors, Bianucci, Reagan, and Taylor Brandt.
Thank you all so much for your support of our show.
We truly appreciate it.
And now, here's a trailer for one of my absolute favorite history podcasts, One Mic Black History Podcast.
Rube Foster wanted to turn black baseball into America's game, with black men standing toe-to-toe with their white major league counterparts. To do this, Foster had his Giants begin to emulate the ritual and the walk on the same turf as major league teams, with the intention to try to force-feed black professionalism into the white consciousness as a first step towards integration while continuing to stand on their own. As early as 1910, Foster would begin talk of reviving the concept of a National Negro League. Time is now at hand for the formation of Colors League should receive much consideration, and in fact, I believe it's an absolute necessity. Foster was the driving force behind the formation of the National Negro League and its governing body, and in February 1920, African American owners would convene in the YMCA in Kansas City to discuss the prospect of the National Association of Colored Professional Baseball Clubs. Foster surprised them all and would show up with the official charter document for the Negro National League already in hand and wanted to ratify the creation of the league. The group of Rube's Chicago American Giants, C.I. Taylor's Indianapolis ABCs, Joe Green's Chicago Giants, John Mathis, Dayton Marcos, Charles Mills, St. Louis Giants, and J.L. Wilkinson's Kansas City Monarchs, and rounded out with the Cuban Stars. The Negro League created a forum where many players could make big names for themselves, particularly for white audiences. Future Hall of Famers Papa Cool Bell, Bill Foster, Judy Johnson, Satchel Paige, Turkey Stearns all flourished in the Negro National League, along with many others. The Negro National League would inspire the rival organizations such as the Southern Negro League, the Eastern Colored League, which all square off against the Negro National League squads in the National Negro League World Series until 1927. Foster would continue to serve as the Negro National League's league president until a gas leak in his hotel room in Indianapolis left him unconscious and he almost died. This led to his retirement in 1926, and he died of a heart attack in 1930. Without Rube Foster's guidance, the financial hardships of the Great Depression forced the Negro League to shut down in 1931.
Many hundreds of years ago, in the faraway land of the North, there dwelt a special kind of magic, the magic of imagination. And nowhere did this light shine brighter than in the heart of a kindly toy maker named Nicholas Kringle. The toy maker loved children, most of all his own son, whom he named Chris. But the land was ruled by a wicked snow queen.
You cannot escape from me, toymaker's son.
I assure you, young Master Kringle, that we elves are very real. and we shall teach you to make toys which will bring happiness to children all over the world.
Young Santa Claus and the Winter Solstice. Written and directed by Patrick and Paul Gibbs.
And now, the lights are going down and the music's starting back up, so let's head back to the second act of our show. So, what did you think of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
So, quick question. Did you know... Did you know of this play before we watched it?
Yes.
And
yes, I knew the ending before we watched it.
It's...
Like, not the movie's ending, but the ending of the play ending.
Yeah.
Because the movie adds on another element to the ending that the play doesn't, that I'm pretty sure was aimed as like a... we'll get to the ending.
I mean, it's a little bit of a kick you while you're down.
Yeah. It's definitely a kick you while you're down. Thanks, August Wilson.
It's really... First off, I would like to start by saying it's really good. It's really well acted. Music in it is excellent. This is another episode of Warren hates racists, and Warren wants to beat racists, and Warren wants to be a time traveler with modern day weaponry. Like, holy shit. There are some really, really dark moments to this that I was not prepared for.
Yeah.
I was really not prepared for. The show tricked me, because the way it opens up, I was like, oh god, something bad's about to happen. And then it didn't happen, because it's like, haha, sucker, we're gonna make you hate people later.
Through monologues.
Through very impassioned, well-delivered, emotional monologues, and I already knew that Chadwick was a phenomenal actor, but holy shit.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep. And because we are not in February yet, you can swear.
Oh,
you'll need to. You'll need to.
I am well aware of the confines of my verbal choices during the month of February. It is not February. I'm gonna say fuck, because fuck the white people in this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, the Ma Rainey stuff is dramatized, but everything that they go through is stuff that we went through at that time. Like, it's just because it's dramatized for Ma Rainey's aspect, it's still real. It's still real as fuck.
It's one of those situations where it's I kind of think of it with like photo editing. You make the darks a little darker, the lights a little lighter, and you make the saturation, make the colors pop. You know, it's one of those, you tweak it a bit to make it pop more. And this popped on off in my brain, and my brain went a bit.
I am glad though that because I had forgotten that August Wilson did have Ma Rainey be bisexual, so I'm glad that stayed in for both the movie and the play, because she was bi power. In fact, she was pretty much proto-feminism. Like, the women can do the same shit that men can do, including smoking, drinking, carrying on.
She
being
Ma Rainey is a diva. She is boisterous. She is loud. She is large and in charge. It is her way or the highway. She is very much... And it makes a lot of sense when talking about it in the course of the show, and from a historical aspect as well, because it's absolutely true that in that time frame, you know, and even now to an extent, unless you can make somebody some money, they don't care about you.
Exactly.
Unless they can exploit your talent, they don't care about you. You're just another pebble on the road kind of thing for them to step on. And it's so there's like this flip side where, like, as you have these moments with Ma Rainey where she is very aggressive and very loud and very in charge, but at the same time, you know, I don't know anything about her and her backstory, but I'm sure it's just like many people throughout history in America, where they come from nothing, but they have a talent, so they're able to elevate themselves and they become somebody, you know, that society deems, you know, of worth.
Yeah, I'll play Mike's episode after this. Another plug for One Mike Black History podcast.
I should have listened to it before we did this.
It's okay.
Okay, so let's get into it. The movie starts in the dead of night in a forest, and we see two young men running as we hear dogs barking in the distance, and I think, oh god, no, not like this. Don't start this show out with something horrible. And they didn't. Yay!
I am so sorry I traumatized you during February.
No, even if I hadn't had stuff like that, I know the time period, and it's dark, and I see two young lads running, and I hear dogs barking. I'm thinking, oh god, they're being hunted. Like, that was my first thought. They're being hunted. And just, okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that wasn't the case, though.
Yeah.
But, it just turns out that these two young men were running to eagerly stand in line so they could listen to a woman sing in a barn. She's apparently very popular, and the crowd is eating it up. After the intro bit, we see animated newspapers telling of the Great Migration. Lots of Southern black men and women are moving north for work. The scene moves from a newspaper to a nightclub with the same woman who was previously singing in the barn. She's now in said nightclub, and we see a young man, played by Chadwick, blowing on a horn and staring at a pretty young lady who's dancing to the blues. Chadwick moves front stage and steals the spotlight from who I suspect is Ma Rainey. Ma Rainey doesn't take that kindly to having the spotlight stolen and calls for it to be placed back on her. Chadwick ducks out with a grin on his face. Ma Rainey and her dancing girls make the spotlight happy and continue their song.
I do want to point out, I loved the way that they did the newspapers.
Yes,
where
yes.
One person would come to life in the image, because they were actual photographs, and then they would come to life from that photograph.
Yeah.
To kind of be that bridge to history.
It was a very good artistic choice because, like you're saying, they're real photographs in newspapers, and then you'd have it animate, and it's like it like you're talking about, it removes that historical boundary and makes it more, these were real people, you know, living their lives and trying to pursue the American dream, you know?
Yep. And man, Great Migration, that's a period of history we'll cover, and
it's just white people suck in the South, and then black people move north, and white people suck in the North. After the song ends, we see two businessmen testing a microphone, Irv and Mel. Mel is telling Irv that he better keep this Ma Rainey person in line, even if she is the mother of the blues. Irv tells Mel to calm his tits, and he rushes out of the room to welcome the band members who are now rolling in. Irv inquires where Chadwick, the horn player, is, and his band members are like, shrug, he should be here in any minute. And as the men are escorted in, we are told where to set up. We see Chadwick's character chasing some black bottoms of his own that walk by.
This is before I told you Black Bottom was a dance.
I mean, yeah, but it's it still works. I mean, I also appreciate black bottoms, but yes. So Chadwick, the horn player, is a horn dog and is chasing some pretty ladies who walk on by. Before the scene returns to the band members, as the scene returns to the band members who are setting up. They shoot the shit a bit and talk trash about their horny horn player, who apparently is late because he wanted to get himself a nice new pair of shoes. Because every musician knows you can't play the blues unless you've got nice shoes. Okay? Yeah?
Yeah, it's why I lament the fact that I will never be able to find nice shoes in my size. at least nice shoes that would match what society deems as gender appropriate for me, because I could wear men's shoes, but society goes, you got tits, you must wear women's shoes, even though I'm like, but I not identify with women completely. No, wear women's shoes. Fuck you. I have a size 12.
You're bitch stompers.
13 on a good day.
I will wear whatever fits my bitch stompers.
These boots were made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. If you give me shit about my feet, I'll walk all over you.
I love you.
I love you. Thanks for that bit of info, Kay.
You're welcome.
Anyways, Chadwick's character Levy finally shows up to showcase his brand new shoes, and how he can finally play some good music now. Levy may have had a drink on his way, because he's starting to, inquire about a particular door in the room, and insists that it was not there before. Levy's compatriots are like, psh, you're crazy, you wouldn't know your left from your right. Levy gets some shit to his from his compatriots and gives some shit in return about how they're not as talented as him, and how he's going to have his own band because he's got talent. The band tells Levy to get ready for rehearsing, and Levy is like, nah, I'm gonna work on my own music. My horn skills are so good, I don't need to rehearse. The band tells Levy to get his ass in gear and rehearse, and Levy gets all huffy, but he's like, fine, we'll rehearse, but I want to do my version. The others are like, no, we do Ma's version, because we are Ma's musicians, not Levy's musicians. And it's all about this time that Irv walks in to be like, hey, do any of you know what's keeping Ma Rainey's Black Bottom from getting here on time? And they're like, no, but we're sure she's on her way. And before Irv can duck out again, Cutter, the trombone player, is like, hey, Irv, these songs on our rehearsal list, some of them we have multiple versions of, like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. What version do you want? Irv, who is basically just horny for the future prospect of money that he's going to be making off of exploiting these black musicians, is like, Levy's version, whatever, I don't care, just rehearse the songs on the list. And then he ducks out, leaving Cutter with this fuck expression on his face and Levy's shit-eating grin. Levy's grin is ear to ear, and he starts telling the rest of the band what and how to play, even though they've made it clear that they play what Ma Rainey wants them to play. Speaking of which, we see Ma descending the stairs of a hotel, I think, with a male and female compatriot in hand, catching looks from all the patrons as they walk out of the establishment. So, initially we speculated that she had both a male and female lover in this scene, but we learn later that it is
I had forgotten it was the nephew, because the play is the play's a little different, because you don't have these establishing shots of like leaving the hotel and stuff. You just have her bring her nephew into the recording studio, her nephew and her girlfriend, and being like, my nephew's recording this, but he stutters. My nephew's recording this.
If you want me here, he's going to be recording. So I do have a question about that. So, because we see her descending the stairs with her nephew, Sylvester, and her female compatriot, Dussie May. Now, is it established in this that Dussie May is her girlfriend?
Yes, that is established in the movie and the play.
Okay, I guess I missed that bit. I know they say that she's Ma Rainey's girl.
Yes, and it is very much Ma Rainey's girlfriend.
Okay. Because then Dussie May is definitely bisexual as well. But I was just curious about that because I wasn't sure initially if she was like a protege or what. I mean, she kind of is, because they do make a comment later that Ma Rainey taught Dussie May how to sing and all that. All she does is imitate her, is what she said.
But there's a very sexual scene between
those
two that was steamy.
There really is, which made me laugh because I don't know,
I mean, I would let Viola Davis touch me that way, so...
Can't get over all the metal in her teeth.
Well, so Ma Rainey did that stylistically, had gold teeth, because she was like a style icon, too. Just very much like, I don't care, you're getting what you're getting. Whatever I want to wear, I'm going to be big, I'm going to be boisterous, fuck you.
Yeah, she was very much the largest presence in the room.
Yep.
Very commanding, too.
Yes.
Back to the band members in the basement. Levy tries to launch into the "this is how you play my version," and the gang, after some tuning, start to play, and Toledo, the pianist, is like, "You youngins ain't doing much with your lives to make the colored man's life better in America. All you want to do is have a good time, all the time." Levy punctuates just how little he cares about Toledo's opinion by blowing his trumpet in his face. Cutler tells Toledo not to waste don't waste your breasts. Don't waste your breath on that fool. Levy and Toledo call Levy. Yeah, don't waste your breath on that fool, Levy. And Toledo calls Levy the devil. This launches Slow Drag, the bassist, into a story about the real devil, who signed up a bunch of musicians and stole their souls. Levy is like, hell yeah, I'd sign up too. I'd get people to sign up for that kind of money. Cutler calls Levy a blasphemer who's gonna get struck down, and Levy is like, I'm right here, God, come and get me. A bit, yeah. There's
some foreshadowing.
There is some banter in the first act of this that comes back later and has completely different meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit!
Welcome to August Wilson. Wait till we do Fences.
Man.
And Jitney.
I am a thin-skinned white boy when it comes to the shit that white people have done to non-white people. Just makes me...
Someday we'll figure out time. I mean, I heard that they figured out sending particles back in time, long distance. Maybe they'll figure out how to send
I can shoot
Lawrence
laser beams back in time.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just gather all the racists and put them on their own little island and let them all just be racist together? Because I'm sure they'll all find differences among each other to hate, and then they'll just whittle themselves down.
No boats. Don't give them boats. Don't give them any way to get off that island.
No, I mean, a lot of them are fans of, those battle royale games, so we'll just drop them from airplanes with parachutes, and wherever they land, they get to make their own little kingdom.
Has to be a completely uninhabited island, like no animals either.
Well, I mean, that's going to be kind of hard. As long as there's no people.
There's volcanic islands that you can drop them on. Maybe into a volcano.
See, I'm trying to be a little less in your face about wanting them out of the way in case, just like, can we just strap them to anchors and push them in the ocean?
I mean...
Accomplishes the same thing.
It does.
No. We gather up all the racists, we drop them on an uninhabited island, battle royale style, and then we just televise it. And it'll be, and then the last racist standing. The last racist standing gets to be king of Island Fuckhead.
And then we drop him in a volcano.
They're out of the way. They're not bothering anybody else. Just let him do their own thing.
He'll figure out a way off that island. Drop him in a volcano.
Well, then he gets dropped into a volcano.
Mm-hmm. Ain't allowed back.
Exactly. You have been yeeted out of society. Let the rest of us who want to get along, get along.
We haven't figured out the sun rocket yet.
I'd sell for a cannon.
Throw him on Venus. No suit.
It reminds me of a topic of conversation had at work, talking about pet peeves, and I was talking about one of the biggest pet peeves for me is people who do not return shopping carts.
Oh my god.
And if I had my own dictator island, people who didn't do that, their punishment would be launched out of a catapult that's shaped like a shopping cart into the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Thing is that this pandemic has told us who also does not return shopping carts. If you don't return shopping carts, you're not wearing a mask either.
I think that's probably true, because when I've gone shopping, everybody I see returning a cart has a goddamn mask on. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, wow, okay, tangent, the podcast. Let's get back to talking about black musicians being taken advantage of by white record producers. A bit more of pissing back and forth.
As old as time.
A bit more of pissing back and forth between our band members, and we see Ma Rainey arriving, crashing her car into another car. Irv rushes out to be like, my black meal ticket. What's wrong? How can I fix it? A seemingly racist cop is like, she said this, and then he said that, but she wouldn't let him say, somebody got knocked out is what I'm trying to get to. Irv takes the cop aside and greases his palm. The cop tells everyone, because there's a crowd that's gathered, to disperse. and Irv leads Ma Rainey and her nephew and Dusty May into the recording studio. So, like, in this scene, her nephew, it's in, like, we don't quite see it. I don't know if the nephew actually hit a car or if the nephew got bumped into.
I think he might have gotten bumped into, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that, but it became a scuffle because, you know, of course, angry white man is yelling at black person over fender bender, and then a cop shows up, and of course he's only listening to the white side of the story, and Ma Rainey is not having any of that shit. And then they're saying that she assaulted this guy and pushed him to the ground, and they're like, he bumped into me and fell down, kind of thing. Because Ma Rainey's a bigger lady, kind of thing, so that's very possible.
Chances are he bumped into her and then did that thing that soccer players do. Oh, I'm dead.
My shin is shattered. I'll never play again. Ah. But anyway, yeah, and so Irv, Ma Rainey's manager, comes out, and, you know, he's of course, you know, money. He just wants the money, so he's like, takes the cop aside, gives him some money. He's like, let's smooth this all over. The cop's like, it's 1920 something, and I'm corrupt as fuck, so yeah,
I'm in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago. But yeah, so that gets solved, and everybody gets
again, tale as old as time.
Right. Okay, so
corrupt Keystone Cop aside.
Mel bitches to Irv in the office about this black woman who is late to her recording, gets in a fight with a cop, complains about the studio being too hot, trips over a mic cord, then threatens to sue me? So she's a diva, it sounds like. Anyways, Desi May is a pretty young black woman, and Ma Rainey is like, I've never been in a recording studio before. And Ma Rainey comes up behind her and kinda gropes and smooth talks her, and Desi May, this is the scene that Kay was talking about, because Desi May is like, is just kind of like wide-eyed, just like, oh, this is cool, this is new and exciting, and I can't remember, does she go up to a mic and pretends to sing into it?
Yes.
And then that's when Ma Rainey comes up behind her and is like,
and there's the obligatory butt shot as she's waving her butt back and forth, dancing at the mic.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I mean, there's a reason, there is a reason that people will have their butts cut open and basically get breast implants in their butts to make their butts more like black people butts, because they don't have the butts. So never let anybody make you feel bad for your natural gifts, because there is somebody out there paying a surgeon to make them have fake ones.
I tell you, like, sidebar, growing up, I felt bad about my butt, because I was the only black girl in a group of white girls, and it was always like, oh, I'm so fat, oh, we don't want to be fat, and, like, big butts were a problem. Okay, and this is even in elementary school, and I had a big butt in elementary school.
I've seen that's the thing, I've seen your child photos. You had a cute little black girl butt, and it's just only gotten cuter, and now it's a beautiful woman black butt.
And it was one of those things, though, where, like, I felt bad about my butt, and so I would wear baggy pants so that you couldn't see my butt. I would do all sorts of stuff, and then my dad also would make me feel, he fat shamed me starting at 8. And I wasn't fat at 8. I was very skinny.
You want to know how to give a child an eating disorder.
Yeah, and so it was one of those things where, like, people suck is where I'm going here. People do suck, and I haven't had enough coffee to deal with people.
I'm people. Are you dealing with me okay?
You're more than people. You are husband. Husband is more than people.
It's like
husband is better than people.
It's like people 2.0.
People 2.0. People 5.0.
I'm 5 times people. That was weird. Anyways, so yes, Desi May is pretending to sing. Well, she is singing, and Ma Rainey does her kind of gropey hip grinding on her, and that's where I was initially
kissing on her neck.
Yeah, that's initially where I was confused, because I was like, I thought maybe she was her niece or she was her nephew's girlfriend, but no, it looks like Desiree is Ma Rainey's, arm candy sort of thing, which, hey, more power to him.
Can we all be so lucky?
She's a very pretty young lady. But anyways, after the Ma Rainey Grope Fest on Desime, she hears a noise, and she walks over to a door and opens it, and she can hear from the basement or a room down the hall, wherever it is, the band members playing their music. And they listen to the band down the hall. Ma is not happy about the changes to her song that she's hearing, and Irv is all, but the people will like it! And we get to see Ma Rainey in her full diva force telling Irv which way the wind blows with Ma Rainey and her black bottom. Ma Rainey leads her nephew Sylvester down to meet the band, since he's going to be the one to introduce her in the song. And as they enter the band room, Ma Rainey sets the record straight and stomps hard on Levy's version of Black Bottom. Ma Rainey tells Cutler to put Levy in his place and show Sylvester the ropes. And, we don't, well, I guess I'll just read my note, because then we can talk about Ma Rainey leaves, and Levy throws a hissy fit about how his version of the Black Bottom is better, and how once he gets his own band, he's gonna be big. Big, I tell ya! The rest of the band laughs and mocks Levy as Cutler introduces Sylvester to the group, and tell him his introduction part. Cutler gives Sylvester his lines, and as Sylvester tries to give them, we see that he has a pretty predominant stutter. Levy is a complete dick about Sylvester's stutter, and taunts Cutler going, fix that! Fix that! I'll pay you, was it $5 if you can fix that? Kind of thing. And he laughs and laughs. Sylvester basically tells Levy to fuck off, and Levy proceeds to tell Cutler that if he can fix Sylvester, he'll shine his shoes for him. And, like, because the line that they tell Sylvester to give is, it's like, all right, folks, you've heard the rest, now it's time for the best. Ma Rainey's Black, was he say Ma Rainey's Black Bottom?
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah. And so that's the line he's supposed to give, but anybody who knows what a stutter sounds like, he stutters on different parts, so that's the issue. He has trouble getting through the whole introductory line. It's about this time that Mel, Irv's boss / partner or whatever, comes in and is all, "Are you rehearsing?" And Levy is like, "Yes, sir, Mr. Mel. Yes, sir."
And literally, that's what he says.
And Mel asks to see Levy's songs that he's been writing, and Levy jumps to his feet, all super stoked, talking about how he's changed this and that, and that the folks are really gonna love it. Mel is like, good, I'll take a look at it when I give a chance, but I'm gonna take this with me, so I can take credit for it later, and it will be my word against yours, and you won't be able to do a damn thing about me stealing your music. And then Mel leaves. Of course, he doesn't say all that, but as he takes the sheet music that Levy has written, he's like, I'll take these with me. I'll hang on to them.
Yeah, and it's one of those like, no.
As soon as they were doing that, I just had this, I wanted to reach through the screen and be like, Levy, don't trust the rich white man.
Don't trust him.
Don't do it.
No.
You need a contract.
Yeah. And even then.
Contract and a lawyer.
Just don't trust him.
Yeah.
Run.
The rest of the band starts making fun of Levy for jumping to the white man as soon as he came in. A lot of piss is thrown back and forth between the band and Levy, as the band tries to imply that Levy is a Kay, help a honky out with this part, because I'm too white to say this part.
That's a word I haven't used in a long time. Granted, it was on accident. I didn't know what horns were. Basically calling him a coon.
Yes.
Which, with this, and Levy gets into it, but Levy is playing it very smart at this point for the time, because he does not hold any cards at all. He is very much in the, I have to jump, or if they say jump, I have to say how high. But he makes a very good point in the next little monologue that it's like, keep in the back pocket of, once I can, gonna get you.
Thanks, Kay.
You're welcome.
So yeah, Levy gets into about how they don't know the kind of blood that he has in him, the kind of heart that beats in his chest.
I should have warned you.
Oh,
I should have warned you.
You know, I don't know. You're fine not, because like I said, the intro to this movie, I thought it was gonna go one way, and then it didn't. That's because they were lulling me into a false sense of white security with
I will say that unlike other movies that have been released that are like, I'm thinking of movies like The Help or The Green Book, where it's very much through a white gaze. This is not. And I think more movies like this need to be released and make people uncomfortable.
I'm sure
because that's the point of art.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure anybody listening who's listened enough and knows me, I don't get uncomfortable as a white person being like, oh, they're talking about the shit that white people have done. I get uncomfortable because I get fucking furious. And I just so much rage.
It's one of those things where if you and I had known each other as kids, you probably would have been in the principal's office a lot.
And it would have been like they were being mean to her.
Yeah.
That's why I punched them in the face. Like, I cannot emphasize how much I oppose racism and discrimination along any lines. Just, okay, with exception. The people in power can always go fuck themselves because they're the people in power.
Absolutely.
So that is the only time. As long as you're punching up, I say discriminate away. So, anyways, Levy
send a turtle to the guillotine.
Turtle soup, motherfucker. Levy then starts his very, very dark backstory. It's really, really, really fucked up. And I'm going to give a mercifully brief recap of it.
Yep.
Levy's family, and this this movie takes place in 1927.
Yes.
So we don't know how. Levy says he's 30-ish, right?
Yeah, so he would have been around.
So
this is post-Reconstruction.
Yeah, it's post-Reconstruction, but it's still Jim Crow.
Yeah.
And
Jim Crow was a response to Reconstruction.
Yeah. So Levy tells a story about when he was 8 years old. So this would have been before, well, I guess just after turn of the century, just after 1900. Still not a great time to be a black person in the South.
Yeah.
Still isn't.
So,
but Levy talks about how his family had 50 acres of land, good land, that you could plant anything on. And his family worked really hard to get that land so they could be independent. When Levy was 8, his dad went into town to get seeds and fertilizer. When he was gone, 8 or 9 white men came into the house and assaulted his mother. Levy tried to help her, and he even attacked one of the men with his dad's knife, where he knew where he kept it. The man took the knife from Levy and slashed him across the chest with the knife. They stopped their assault on Levy's mom and left after they slashed the boy. Levy's mom wrapped him up in a blanket and took him to a racist doctor who said he didn't have time to treat him because he was waiting on a calf to be born. Levy's mom then took him to a midwife who was able to patch him up. Levy's father got the names of the men from his mother, and then they sold their land and moved in with family elsewhere. After they got settled in, Levy's dad left, and he hadn't seen him since. Turns out, Levy's dad is fucking Batman, and he snuck back to their old land, and he started to get revenge on the men who assaulted his wife. Levy's dad got about 4 of the men before the remaining 4 or 5 tracked him down and murdered him.
Lynched him.
Yeah, they said that he lynched and burned him.
Yeah.
Levy then tells the other band members that he learned how to deal with the white man from his father, and that he'll grin in their face, sell his land, all while thinking about how he's going to get back at them. So when Kay's saying he's playing it smart, yeah, he's very much, yes, sir. What do you say, sir?
Yeah,
absolutely, sir. Because he knows that he's not a Ma Rainey. He doesn't have, he can't impose his will yet is the issue. And just that, oh my god, when we were watching that, I felt my stomach churn, and just like just absolutely. And I'm just sitting here like, it sucks that his dad wasn't able to get more of them.
Yeah.
You know,
it's and this is sort of a thing, if you haven't listened to our Black History episodes,
they are some of the only episodes where I don't say fuck.
Yes. First off, go back and listen to him. What are you doing? But second off, that's a theme in a lot of these shows, because that's what fucking happened.
Yeah.
That is what fucking happened. And our history classes don't teach it, because it's like, oh, well, we've got to keep people comfortable.
Yeah,
we've got to keep the white people comfortable. And it's like, no, that's not how you fix shit.
It isn't how you reconcile with your past if you don't own up to it and educate younger generations so that they are aware of the shit that went down, so that they can proactively, in their adult lives, take the appropriate steps to ensure that atrocities like that are
never happen.
Exactly. And to help freaking, you know, that's kind of, I'm really proud of, you know, Generation Z and millennials in general, because they tend to have a greater sense of social justice. You know, we're much more aware of the lies and the sins of the past, and we're very much like, this bullshit has gone on too long, and it needs to not only stop, but there needs to be, for lack of a better word, reparations. You know, and not necessarily being like, here's a check, Kay, but being like, hey, you know, these deeply ingrained systems of oppression, they need to be broken down, dismantled, and then the funds that go into them distributed elsewhere to better help everyone.
Yes, that is absolutely what is needed.
Levy's story is hard-hitting, and it affects everyone in the room.
Yep.
Mercifully, the scene changes to Toledo, who is singing about how all black people came from different tribes in Africa, and how they're all different ingredients, but in America, they're all different parts of different tribes, and so they're like a stew. You know, this group's the meat, this group's the carrots, this group's the peas, or whatever. Well, I guess not peas, since black people hate peas.
At least I do. And most of the folks I know hate peas.
I'm not a huge fan of them either, but
I don't know. I do not know anyone in my circle who will eat peas willingly.
Kay picks peas out of fried rice.
I will pick peas out of fried rice. They don't go there. Why are they what British nonsense is this shit?
It probably is that. It probably is that.
I think they're the ones that they brought peas over.
It's to trick you. You see green and you go, oh, it's healthy.
When I saw peas in jollof rice, I got so mad. I was like,
that's a colonizer sprinkle.
What the fuck? Colonizer sprinkle?
You know, there needs to be a T-shirt that's, what kind of colonizer bullshit is this?
Yeah, because it is. Who the fuck puts peas in jollof rice?
Okay,
Jesus Christ.
So
they're gross.
Black people in America are the African stew. But more to the point, the leftover colored people in this period are the leftovers. Toledo ponders what the colored man is going to do with himself in America. First things first, he's got to know that he is a leftover. Which, it's a really... I remember watching that scene, and the way that he delivers it, you could tell, you know, at least from the writing, you know, because I know it's not a... Yeah, he was the person... historically was a real person, but maybe the conversation and stuff like that is a little embellished, but the cultural philosophy behind it, I think is very powerful, but it's also it's kind of a kick, you know, it's kind of a kick to your soul. Me trying to come from the perspective of a photo-negative version of myself in that time period, being told that you're a leftover, but he's saying that before we can make things better for ourselves, we have to realize what we are, and then we can go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a bit of that kind of the issue that we have in America right now is like we have to address our past. We have to address it with an objective, fact-based reality.
Absolutely.
And then what can we do? And then move from there. And I kind of feel like that's the same thing that he's kind of saying.
Yeah. And that was a beautiful description of being part of the diaspora, too.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, you've watched me struggling when I try to... It's why I don't have as much of an interest in, like, doing family tree shit, because...
There's a certain point
I hit a point and it's like...
It's cargo lists, like you've said.
Yeah, after I hit a point, it's a list of X amount of slaves in the back of the Bible.
Yeah.
Don't know which one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's hard.
It's why I get kind of mad at folks who have said things like, I don't get why you harp about generational wealth, or I don't get why you're saying that, you know, that things are still so hard. Martin Luther King happened. Well, no. So you can tell where your last name came from.
Exactly. So comedian Christopher Titus has a great bit in one of his specials where he's trying to educate his daughter about the shit that white people have done to natives and to black people, and he's talking about, I pay for your private school, why the fuck aren't they teaching you this there? But he makes the comment that the way it's taught in American schools, it's basically like, we had slaves, then Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. Yay! Good job, white guy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And it's yes, white people fixed it. It's like,
white savior.
Yeah, exactly. And it's incredibly frustrating. And it's like, if only that were the case. If only that were actually the case, and it was 100+ years ago, and everything's been fine since then. You know,
if there had been actual reparations.
Yeah.
But
50 acres and a mule, you know?
40
acres and a mule.
At this point, though, with interest.
Okay. I think Kay and I'll hop down off of our revolutionary soapbox, at least for just a couple minutes.
Start sharpening the guillotines.
Oh my god, seriously. Oh.
I'm only half kidding.
Goddamn turtle. Piece of shit.
He's not.
Piece of shit. Goddamn ghoul of a turtle. Okay, scene changes. We get the bustle of the streets for just a moment as we see Irv shutting all the blinds and closing all the curtains. Cutler corners Irv to tell him that Sylvester can't do the part because he stutters. The scene changes again to the actual recording, and the producers are like, play this song first. And Ma is like, no, I'm doing Black Bottom first. They're like, okay, we'll do that first. And then Ma tells Sylvester... And then they tell Ma that Sylvester can't do the part because he stutters. And Ma is like, I don't care what anyone else says. We're doing this my way or I'll leave. And everyone caves to Ma because her magic is going to bring them the Benjamins. As they start to give Sylvester a few tries, Ma is like, I can't sing without my Coke. Where's my Coca-Cola? And Irv is all, shit, I forgot. I'm sorry. I'll get you a Coke.
Writer.
Huh?
Oh, so musicians will often have a writer of what has to be provided in order for them to perform. I think it was some musician that, like, they could only have M&Ms, but it was either all of the brown or all of the blue ones had to be picked out before they could have them. And, like, some of them will hide it in the contract to see if the people actually read the writer and stuff, and...
I could see that as a test to be like, do they actually pay attention? But I would not want to work with somebody who was that picky.
And it's a common, like, sometimes writers can be as simple as, hey, I have a raspberry allergy, don't put any fucking raspberries back here.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Or it can be, which I guess that's less of a writer and more of a medical thing.
I hate the color fuchsia. I
Yeah,
don't want any
yeah.
fuchsia anywhere in the recording studio, in my dressing room. And so help you to God, if I see any fuchsia, I'm going to the neighboring recording studio.
Yeah, or things like my dog has to be in the recording studio with me.
I mean, that would be us.
That would be us. But you know, that's like a writer can be anything that's innocuous to really fucking nitpicky,
So,
like pick out all the M&Ms or
There could be something
where the
as-
fuck is my Coke?
It could be something as simple as like I would like a bottle of water and a Coke so that I can have something
I
sweet.
can have some water, and then I can have something to pick me up because it has cocaine in it right now because it's the
that's
20s.
right. Well, that's right.
It's medicinal at this point. That's what Coke is. It's a medicine.
Mama needs her fix before she can sing.
Which, fun fact, Coca-Cola still is the only company allowed to import coca leaves.
Yep, coca leaves. Yep.
But,
I mean, they
it
take
ain't
all
in
the
Coke.
cocaine out of it now, but
Those were the days.
those were the days.
I would sing the bit from Damn Yankees, but my lungs are screaming at me right now.
That's okay, you don't need to. But yes, Ma is upset that her Coca-Cola is not there, and Irv is like, shit, I forgot, I'm sorry, I'll get you a Coke, but can we please just record this song first? And Ma freaks out, being like, you cheap bastard, too cheap to buy me a Coke, I'll buy my own damn Coke. And she pulls a wad of cash from her sweaty cleavage and sends one of her minions and her nephew to go get some Coke and whatever else the boys want. Just go get some
Bra
refreshments.
money.
I just when I saw her do that, it just absolutely reminded me of when I was a cashier and you watch people pull. I'm just like, look, I know. Look, I get it. If you're a well-endowed woman, you've got some titty pockets. You keep your phone in there, you keep your keys in there, maybe you keep a can of soda for when you get thirsty, but then your body heat makes it warm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a non-starter there.
You keep your change in one cup, you keep your bills in the other cup. Look, hey, if I had big old mammaries and had a bra, who knows what I would keep in there. But you know what? On a summer day, it's really fucking gross. It is disgusting to get a sweaty, damp bill from somebody. I don't want to touch it. And it is incredibly not fair to your cashier.
So when I was in Europe, the school that we went with would be like, okay, make sure that you have a money belt and money hidden somewhere else. So I actually had a special pocket that I made for my bra that I had money in and then would pull it out. But it was in a pocket.
See,
it wasn't
exactly.
like pressed up to my boob.
I love you for the fact that you put a pocket in there so that your money was separated from your sweaty body.
Yeah, because it was one of those things where I also had a chain on my purse, like a chain.
So if someone tried to grab it.
So if someone tried to cut it, then
yes.
Yeah, because you don't want a leather strap when you're traveling. You want to have it be a proper chain.
Damn cutters.
And then I had like secret pockets in there too, and because worst case scenario, travel guide was one of the greatest purchases as a child, and I had all of those lessons. So even though they said get a money belt, I was like, I'll do you one better. I'm gonna sew money pockets and pin money pockets.
Oh God, who was it we were listening to? They were talking about traveling to Brazil, and the crime in Brazil is so out of control, especially for tourists, that they were talking about have a decoy wallet and have a decoy phone because you will get robbed and give them the decoys. Otherwise, you're going to lose your stuff. And this, I think it was I can't remember, it was a comedian or something. They were talking about they had their decoy phone, and they're like, they didn't know what to expect. And he said, 18 minutes after I got out of the airport, I got robbed at knife point kind of thing. And I just gave him my phone and gave him my wallet, and he's like, and the wallet had like just a few distraction bills basically in it. It didn't have a lot of money in it, and he gave him the phone. And they said, well, and so you knew, so what'd you do with the phone? He's like, oh, it was full of dick pics. Like, I was just, yeah, he's like, I downloaded as many dick pics as I could on that thing. So, that they get the phone, they start going through it. And, but yeah, that's kind of what that makes me think of a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
no, that was like going to Italy and France. They were saying, have some pockets, Because it'll happen anywhere.
I mean, there's always the prison wallet, but please, for the love of God, don't ever give a cashier something from your prison wallet.
No.
It's unsanitary.
That's one thing that I'm very glad about with COVID is that people aren't using cash as much.
Considering...
It makes me happy.
So, allow me to correct you, my dear. Since I've been the one doing all the shopping this whole year, that is not true.
No!
It was, I would say, for like the first 6 months, but now people are using cash.
No!
And people are bringing their own bags and stuff like that.
Damn it.
So, I mean, as you can, I've just been using plastic.
Do I need to get a nose swab again? Are people rubbing stuff around and now we need to make sure I'm not gonna die?
I mean, I wash my hands and stuff, and you're okay. I don't know. You're sick currently, so maybe you're not okay. I don't know.
So, this may be the last episode of Tone Deaf. We'll see. We'll record like 50 episodes in the next week.
Oh, God. I don't think we could do that. I don't think we could physically do that. I don't think there's enough hours in the day, even if we stayed up all night.
And said, screw work!
Kay's gonna die. We gotta get her backlog filled up. Boy! This episode is rife with tangents.
It's because it hurts. It hurts because I'm trying not to think about how much this made me miss Chadwick.
Right.
I didn't know he could sing.
He was
and
so
he could
good in this.
sing. What the fuck?
See, my biggest thing is, does he sing in this?
Yeah, he sang little bits.
Well, yeah, I mean, just little bits. He didn't do full-on songs.
Which showed that you could... But, like, he sounded good just doing those little bits, and it's like... Motherfucker! We could have had a Black Panther musical!
Oh, that would have been amazing.
It would have been better than Spider-Man.
I'm mostly in... Anything is better than Spider-Man. I mostly am just still the guy with a fucking amazing actor.
Mm-hmm. He's an amazing actor,
good
amazing
human
person.
being. Just... The good die young, and shitty people stay in the Senate forever. Okay,
fuck that turtle. Oh, that's not too bad.
You know what? It almost kind of looks like the sound wave is giving you the A-OK symbol, but that's now been incorporated by Nazis.
That symbol's gone.
So,
gonna have to reverse it or something. Make it not have that symbol. Make it be...
No, you do it with your pinky now.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay. Getting back on track.
Fuck Nazis.
So, after Ma... Yes, also, fuck Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
After Ma gets upset about not having a Coke, and she pulls out her titty money and sends her nephew and her minion down to get some beverages, Mel comes down, all pissed off at this diva, and Irv stops him, doing the white man mind link, going, "Be patient. Think of the money," and they calm down and they take 5 so that Ma can get her Coke. As people file out of the room, Ma tells Cutler to hang back so she can yell at him, and she does. Ma's very upset that they told Irv and Sylvester Ma's very upset that they told Irv that Sylvester can't do the part because he stutters, and she tells him to find someone to replace Levy because he's nothing but trouble. Desi May is hanging around, and Ma yells at her, saying that she's in the way. Desi May gets upset and leaves with her full pouty face.
Big mistake.
Cut to very angering scene as Sylvester and Ma's minion go into the store to get stuff, and it's full of angry white men who give racist angry white man stares at the two of them, who then seem to turn and leave, but we don't quite see that happen, so I hope they're okay. Spoilers, yes they are, they're fine. But just that I hated that. Like, they just want to go into the store and exchange money for goods.
Yep.
You know, capitalism. And as soon as they open the door, they're the only two black guys, and they just see a room full of smoking, angry white men who look at them, and you could just see it on their faces. Just, what are you doing here? And it's just, so they leave the room. The scene...
Those are all characters. Like, the actors themselves are doing a good job, but the way that they portray the characters, you know that they say the N-word in casual use.
Oh,
those
the
characters do.
Oh, absolutely.
Those characters say
Well, I mean,
it.
that was the thing. It was on
It
their
just
faces.
rolls off the tongue.
It was on their faces.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
They're too comfortable.
Well, I mean, it's not that they're too comfortable. It's that they're
Yeah.
racist assholes.
Yeah.
White supremacy.
They're comfortable in their racism.
Yeah, because they're white people, and white people are the best people. The scene changes to Levy in the other room, writing and rehearsing his song that he already gave away to Mel, the conniving ass clown. I am struggling.
The conniving, colonizing ass clown.
Thank you, Kay. I am struggling. Dusty May is like, I just wanted to see what was in here, and tries to leave, but Levy the horn dog leaps into action and is all, nah, stay, I'll show you a good time, 'cause Levy knows how to treat a woman. I'm gonna have my own band and be super awesome, and super awesome dudes like me need a super awesome woman like you. And the two flirt back and forth a bit. Back in the recording room, Ma Rainey is laying into Cutler about how this is her shit, and people will listen to her. She will compromise on nothing, and if they don't like it, she'll leave. And Ma has a fair point as she launches into about how these white men don't care about them at all. All they want is her voice, and once they get that voice, they're going to treat her like a whore and throw her away. Just watch. She knows what she's talking about. And I looked unfavorably upon Ma because of her
divaness,
her aggression, her attitude, her belittling of people. But then when it got to this point, I had to check my own privilege and be like, oh yeah, of course, she's a black artist, and they're just like, well, we want her recordings because we're gonna make money. We don't care about the occupant of this voice. We just care about the voice and the fact that people will pay money to have a recording of that voice. And so it was just a little bit of like, fucking duh, Warren. Meanwhile,
it's all right. You eventually got there.
I will eventually get there. I may not be a smart man, but I'm not a racist. Meanwhile, I guess there's plenty of dumb racists. Anyway, this. Meanwhile, Levy is macking on Dusty May and asks if he can introduce his red rooster to her brown hen. And then the two bone down. Ma gets deep for a moment, talking about the importance of her music to her, how the blues help get her up in the morning. She takes that emptiness inside of her and fills it up with something meaningful. Meanwhile, Levy is filling Dusty May with something, or at least he would, but the boys are back with the cokes and have come to let Levy know that his horn is needed. Levy, blue balls and all, rushes up to watch Ma Rainey drink a coke before they record. It takes 7 takes for Sylvester to get his intro correct, but once he does, they launch into Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So, the way that when Levy is schmoozing Dusty May, you know, and how it goes into them actually having sex, it felt a little rapey, honestly, the way that she was going to kind of leave, and then he kept like pulling her back, and then he started kind of groping on her.
That was an interesting direction choice.
She was obviously into it. Like, she didn't tell him no at any point, but she did kind of like try to pull away a bit, and then he'd go for her some more, and then she'd be like, you know?
Yeah.
And then the two of them are boning down, and then that's when one of the guys comes in, and he goes to like open the door, but it won't open. And they're like, Levy, Ma's waiting for you, kind of thing. You just hear the two of them scrambling, kind of thing. And I don't know if that would make his playing a little bit more difficult or a little bit, I don't know, because he didn't get the full-on stress relief.
I don't have balls, so I wouldn't know.
It's really annoying when you don't get a finish. I'll just say that, and you can leave it in if you want.
I don't understand that feeling.
Yeah, when have you ever not finished?
Right? Hi, Mom.
So,
only family member who listens.
They launch into Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The song is great, and when they're done, a round of congratulations is in order. Except, I guess, Sylvester's mic, didn't record, so they'll have to do it again. Or more likely another 7 times. Ma loses her shit, grabs her coat, and storms out.
And they show that the mic was bitten through by rats.
Wait,
the mic cable.
Yeah, he says the cable's chewed up.
Which, why do you not check that shit?
I did... Amateurs? I don't know. Anyway.
This is the only explanation for not...
Mel tries to say in his best big boy producer voice, if you leave... Yeah, so as Ma Rainey is storming out because she's pissed off and upset, Mel, the lumbering fuckhead, comes out in the office, and in his big boy producer voice, he goes, if you leave now, you're washed up. Finished. And Irv is like, for Christ's sakes, Mel! And he chases after Ma, catching up with her and begging her for 15 minutes for them to replace the mic cable for Sylvester. Irv is like, 15 minutes, Ma. These records are gonna be huge. Hell, even Sylvester is gonna be a star. Ma agrees to 15 minutes, and Irv rushes in, all happy, hearing money jingling in his head as he runs. Meanwhile, the band is trying to talk some sense into Levy, who they all noticed was eye-humping Dusty May during the recording, but they don't know that he was actually humping her not 10 minutes ago. Levy
I mean, she was on top, so was she the one that was humping?
That reminds me of the ending of the original Clerks. He's like, somebody raped her. What? She said she did all the work.
Oh no! I forgot about that!
When she has sex with a dead guy in the bathroom.
Oh
okay.
Anyways. I forgot about that. Holy shit.
Yeah. So Levy tries to say that he didn't do anything more than ask Dusty May her name. And the others are like, well, you had best not be asking her anything in front of Ma, or your feet will be scraping the street. Toledo tries to give a life story to Levy about how he was also a fool at one point in his life. He fell in love with a woman, but she didn't love him back, and that made him a fool. Cutler is like, no, you're not a fool, Toledo. A fool is someone who brings it on themselves, like Levy. Levy's a fool. Life was unfair to you, Toledo. Levy is like, life is shit. Carry it around in a bag. It ain't got no balls. Levy talks about how life is easy, but death is hard. Death will fuck you up. But life, you can rule over life if you have balls. Levy tries to tell them that when he becomes a big star, he'll make the white man respect him, just like Ma. Cutler tries to tell him that the white man doesn't respect Ma. They use her, just like they'll use Levy. Cutler tells the story of a Reverend Gates, a man who came up from Tallahassee to see his sister, found himself in a strange town, and while he was using the colored toilet, the train left. And as it started to get dark, the Reverend noticed a group of white men gathering. So the Reverend, not knowing what else to do, started walking down the train tracks. The Reverend gets assaulted by the group, who tear off his cross, tear up his Bible, and have him dance until they're bored of him. But before Cutler can finish the story, Levy comes in to ask a very logical, simple question which I respect. If Reverend Gates was a man of God, why didn't God protect him and strike some of those crackers down with his lightning? I absolutely agree with Levy's point. Levy and Cutler go back and forth a bit, and tensions rise. As Levy tells Cutler that his God doesn't love black people, he never listens to black people, Levy says God hates black people. Cutler loses it and goes after Levy for blaspheming against his God. And as he's like, but that's my God you're talking about. That's my God! Kind of thing. And you know, there's a bit of a scuffle. Everybody else intervenes to pull the two of them apart. And Levy is like, let him go, kind of thing. And the band pull the two apart, and Levy pulls a knife, telling Cutler that he's going to give his God a chance to save him, just like God saved his mom. And then the wound from the earlier scene.
Chekhov's knife.
Oh, God. I love you.
I love you.
I don't like you very much at this particular nanosecond, but...
You're welcome.
Okay, I like you again.
It was the thought as it happened. I was like, there's Chekhov's knife.
So the wound from earlier, the earlier scene with Levy talking about his mom, is opened even wider as Levy says that he heard his mom begging God to help her when she was being assaulted. Levy curses at God some more, telling God to go fuck himself, and then he breaks down. It is a very emotional scene.
It is some of the best acting I have ever seen.
Ever. I remember Jamie Foxx talking about at I can't remember what awards show it was, but he made a comment that I took personally, even though it wasn't directed at me. But he makes a comment to the audience when he's accepting his award, and he says that Black people are the most talented people in the entertainment industry. And one of the things that I was thinking about in regards to that is no matter where you're from in America, if you are part of a disenfranchised group, you have already so much more hardship. You know, to just kind of talk about white privilege a little bit. It's like I've had my share of shit go wrong in my life, but at the same time, if I were to throw my troubles into a pile with other people, I'd be pretty fucking quick to reach for my troubles again. You know, be like, oh, okay, you guys can keep yours. I'll hang on to these. They suddenly don't look quite so bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot about Chadwick's life, but I think that, like, he is such a goddamn good actor. I think he pulls from some either ancestral pain or what. Like,
there is some experiences that it's you pull from.
It's kind of ingrained in the culture, I would say, a little bit.
And ingrained in just the microaggressions and and all of that it's like, okay, this is in the database, and acting is a wonderful way to let it explode out so that...
Has a bit of therapy, too, almost. Man, this show is going to be a preview of Black history, and I won't be able to say fuck.
Get them all out. Fuckity fuck.
I don't want to just curse for no reason.
Fuck.
Hey. I'm the vulgar one, okay? You're stealing my shtick.
Fuckity fuck.
Well then. However, we're not left to dwell on the scene long, as then we see the gang get back together to record another one of Ma's hits. The recording goes well, and everyone shares congratulations for their skillful playing. All except Levy, who Ma gives shit to for playing more notes than he was supposed to. Levy says that he knows what he was doing. He was playing the song the way he felt it. And Cutler tells him yet again, it's not about your music, it's about Ma's music. And Ma smirks as Levy is like, I know what I'm doing, and y'all can get off my back about it. Levy and Ma have a spat, and Ma fires Levy right there. Levy leaves the room in a rage and proceeds to pack up his shit. He tries to exit out the door that he's been fighting with all movie. He finally gets it open, and, okay? Can you explain what the fuck that tiny room was? Because I don't even know how to explain it.
So it's just this little brick, not even a yard. Like, it's
like a cell.
It's almost a cell,
like,
yeah.
It's a small room.
And I feel like that was a choice because he finally gets this door open and immediately hits a wall. Like, there's nothing for him to go through from that door. There's no way out. Can't even go up, because he's not a bird, he can't fly, he can't go up. And that's a little bit of foreshadowing for what's about to happen, because he just closed an opportunity behind him, thinks he's opening another one, and walks straight into a dead end.
You know, I didn't look at it that deep initially, but you're absolutely right. Because initially I was just... Because throughout the course of the movie, while he's, you know, shooting the shit with the other band members, he'll periodically go over to this door and it just won't open. Like, he's pulling the latch, you know, maybe it's rusted or what, but it won't open. And then he finally, in all of his rage, gets this door open, and then it's in this walled off area, and you look up and there's no roof over it. It's open sky, and there's pipes and stuff. And my dumbass isn't looking at it from a artistic foreshadowing or anything like that. I'm just sitting here going, well, that seems like a structural flaw. Like, it's gonna rain, and that rain's just gonna seep into the rest of the building because there's no drainage, obviously, there. Like, what's the purpose of this structure? So,
and it's also like his rage gets him nowhere.
Yeah.
His rage his unfocused rage gets him nowhere.
And what's interesting about that too, as I'm extrapolating on it deeper, is it's not even so much his rage. It is that he is a man overflowing with passion.
Mm-hmm.
He's passion for women, passion for music, passion for his dream to be somebody big.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with passion is that if you don't keep a leash on it, I mean, and you know this with me,
yeah,
because if we're out in the world and something like racial happens, kind of thing,
yeah,
my fuse is incredibly fucking small.
It's very much like a babe.
Yeah, absolutely. There've been a couple times that I'm like, am I gonna? Yeah, but Kay has to be like, reel it in. It's okay, like it's fine, whatever, kind of thing. And I think that's Levy's issue too. Is he's got so much passion, but he doesn't really have direction, and he's not the master of his own emotions.
Yeah.
So whatever he is feeling, whatever he's doing, he is doing it 100%.
Yes.
When he's trying to get into Dusty May's pants, he's doing it 100%. When he is playing his music, he's doing it 100%. When he's kissing up to the white man, he's doing it 100%. When he is pissed off that things aren't going his way, he is doing it 100%.
Yes.
And
that way that Chadwick does that scene,
God, he's so good.
And that's the thing too, is that every single scene there is not a weak moment with him.
No.
He was fucking brilliant. It's fuck.
Yeah, we have absolutely lost a AAA powerhouse before their time.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
I don't care what people say. If you go when you go, no, fuck that. I no.
No, I've been dealing with that grief since it happened. I have not been right since then.
Yeah, it's definitely has its peaks and valleys. This has definitely been, watching this has definitely been a peaking moment for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks, Kay, for helping me think
You're
about
welcome.
the subject deeper.
You're welcome.
And
That's
stirring
what
up
I'm
all those
here
emotions
for.
in both of us.
Yes, fucking curse of the witch, man.
Yeah, a little bit. Anyways, Irv gets stopped in the hall by Cutler, who is like, we want our money, in cash, no checks. And Irv is like, I'll do my best. Irv then goes to tell Ma that they'll give 25 of her 200 to Sylvester. And Ma is like, no, he gets paid just like everyone else. And she breaks Irv's balls and tells him to go back and tell Mel that Sylvester gets his money that he earned, just like everyone else. Irv leaves, and moments later Mel comes back in, cash in hand, pays Ma and Sylvester, insisting that it was all just a mistake, a misunderstanding. And Ma's like, nah, the only mistake is you didn't have me sign the release papers yet. And then Ma stomps off, followed by Irv, who is like, sign the papers, Ma, sign the papers. And Irv chases Ma out into the street where her car is waiting. She inspects it and asks for the keys, all while Irv is begging for her to sign these release forms. Ma tells him to have them mailed to her and she'll get around to it. Irv convinces her to sign the papers, and Ma tells Irv that if Mel doesn't watch it, she'll take her voice and record elsewhere. She then gets in her car along with Dusty May and Sylvester, and they leave. So I didn't put it down in my notes, but I want to talk about it. So meanwhile, it cuts to the basement of misfit musicians, and that was actually quite.
That was pretty clever.
I thought it was funny when I said basement of misfit musicians, and no one laughed. So
sorry, I'm still feeling my emotions.
I know.
And your emotions.
And my
Jesus
emotions.
Christ, fucking witch.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But it's, when they're sitting in the basement waiting to get... I keep calling it a basement. I don't even know if it's a fucking basement. Anyway.
It's downstairs.
Yeah.
It's the practice room.
So anyway, the musicians are sitting down there talking after the Irv and Ma situation happens. So when they're sitting in the basement, they're talking about, and it's Cutler who's talking about, it better not be no check. I don't want no check. Last time I got paid in a check, had to drive around. We had to go to 20 banks looking to cash it, because as soon as they see a black man with a check, they think we stole it.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And that was another moment of like, I didn't even think about that, you know, just like, so, yeah. Of course they're like, we want cash, because then we don't have to worry about dealing with racist bank tellers going, how did you get this check, black man?
Yeah, it's a cultural thing there. It's a cultural thing, or them purposefully giving you bad checks or things like that, like,
or doing something that'll prevent you from being able to cash it. Oh, it's not signed on the back. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So okay, but so it's when they're sitting in the basement. Mel comes in to pay the rest of the band $25 a piece for their playing. He tells them that he'll have them back in real soon to play some more and make some more. After everyone gets paid, Levy chases Mel out into the hall, inquiring about the songs he handed him. Mel is all, oh yeah, well, about that, I don't think they'll sell, but I'll pay you $5 for them, and any other songs you write. And I'm going to pause right here on this because I want to talk about that scene, because it is soul-crushing. Because Levy is like, because Mel basically tells him, oh yeah, I had some other people play your songs. They just don't sound very good. I don't think that they're gonna sell. You know, they're just, there's nothing there. And Levy is like, no, but you said you'd let me record them. Like, you got to let me play my songs. Like, like come on, like I got a band lined up. I got some boys who really know how to play. Like, we'll get you some good recordings, kind of thing. Like, he's just really pleading his case, and Mel's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But he's like, but I'll tell you what, I'll give you $5 for them. Any other songs you write, I'll give you $5 for those too, kind of thing. And just the look, you see the soul leave Levy's eyes when that happens. And when Levy comes back into the room, he is very, very, very upset. Like, you just, the horseshoe frown on this guy, like, you just, all of his dreams have just been crushed. He was betting the farm on being able to record his songs, do a powerhouse performance, and convince this white guy that Levy was going to be another meal ticket. That he was going to. Yeah, so
and you've almost got like the ticking of a time bomb in this moment. The way that he acts this.
Well, that's the thing. The way that Chadwick acts this scene with Levy, looking at his eyes, it was one of those things of like, oh, that's a man on the brink. That's a man whose fuse is lit, and he is waiting for an excuse to go off because he's got just, oh man, It's hard. It's so hard.
And this shit happened. This shit happened all the time. All the time. And, you can make the argument of, oh, well, what about Tin Pan Alley? Cole Porter still had his name attached to it.
Yeah. There you go. He didn't have, it wasn't credited to somebody else, kind of thing.
Because you can guarantee that what happens later is not credited to Levy. You can guarantee that.
So yeah, Levy is very, very upset, and he sits down on a bench, and Toledo comes over to the lockers that are behind Levy, and Toledo accidentally steps on Levy's shoe. Levy freaks the fuck out, going on and on about how he stepped on his shoe with his clodhoppers, and what is he gonna do to make it right. And Toledo is just like, I said I was sorry, and if you can't accept that, then to hell with you. And as Toledo turns around, Levy fucking stabs him in the back. And he looks at Cutter while he's got this knife in Toledo, telling Cutter, he stepped on my shoe, he stepped on my shoe. And then Levy tries to help Toledo, tries to prop him up, but he falls down, and Toledo dies in Levy's arms, while the others are just plastered to the wall in disbelief, like, what the fuck? And Levy looks into Toledo's eyes, and he tells him, don't look at me like that, don't look at me like that. And like, it is the scene of a man who has snapped, because like Toledo turns around, Levy comes at him and just, oh, you stepped on my shoes, and he's got one hand on him pushing him into the knife as the other hand's pushing into Toledo, and Toledo's an old guy, I would say, like, conservatively, he might be in his 60s,
Yeah.
for the time period and everything. And then Toledo just kind of like falls back, and there's blood, and the others are just like, holy shit. And Levy's just like, he stepped on my shoes. You saw him? You saw him? He stepped on my shoes. He did it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you have this moment. He has this moment of clarity. He realizes
He comes back
he
to
comes
himself.
back to it, to himself, exactly, and he realizes, oh my god, like, what did I that's the thing. Even though he realizes that he stabbed him, that he's murdered him, he like is also not quite there.
Yeah.
And then he's just also like, because then he's like, oh, I'll help you, Toledo, like, I'll help you, and he's trying to like prop him up, but dead weight kind of thing, and so he sinks down to the ground holding Toledo, and then Toledo like flops over, and he's just got the dead stare, and that's when he's just like, don't look at me like that, don't look at me like that. And it's just like, whew,
yeah
whew, it's and I did and then the goddamn scene changes to Mel having a band of white guys playing Levy's song
with the least amount of soul possible.
Yeah, it's like 20s lounge music,
Not even that. Lounge music at least has something in it, some substance. It's
then
like
again,
a fucking school band.
I guess lounge is inaccurate because me, musically challenged, I'm probably using it incorrectly. Because it's played very vanilla.
It's like they're just reading the sheet music straight up.
Yeah, it's not played with any passion.
You can have my jelly roll. That's it's there's nothing. It's soulless.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It's they're people reading somebody else's work. They have no vested interest in it, kind of thing. And that's the thing. So they're playing Levy's song that Mel had promised to let Levy record, showing how fucking swindling the guy out of his sweat and blood drove him into a psychosis where he stabbed an old man over stepping on his shoes. Fuck, man, just fuck. Dark ending. Fuck.
Welcome to August Wilson.
And then the credits roll. And we see photos of the real Ma Rainey, and photos of her with her band, and a photo of the band playing, all while what I assume is an original surviving recording playing in the background.
Yes.
The end.
Yep.
And
a beautiful tribute to Chadwick.
Yeah, very nice tribute to Chadwick in it. And I was not prepared for that ending. I think I was going into it way too naive. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting Levy to stab Toledo, for one.
Yeah.
That hurt, man.
Yeah.
But this is one of those, if it wasn't for our podcast, this is the kind of thing that I probably wouldn't necessarily watch, because my always go-to excuse is, oh, well, it looks too real.
Yeah.
It looks like it's dealing with too real of issues. That's why my media of choice is science fiction and fantasy.
Yeah.
Give me orcs and goblins and dragons and aliens and robots, because I don't want to deal with the real world, because the real world fucking sucks, and it makes me ferment and foam into a murderous, hate-filled rage, because I can't do anything to fix all the injustice in this blue, flaming garbage fire.
But you made it.
I made it!
And, yeah, man, I wish I could say it gets easier, but it doesn't.
Oh, well,
I mean, there's plenty of pain, but there's also plenty of joy, and you kind of have to balance out. You have to take the pain with the joy for the full.
Well, it's yin yang. If you don't have pain, you can't appreciate joy.
Yeah.
If you don't have dark, you can't appreciate light.
Got to have the cranberry juice and the twisted tea. I saw a yin yang meme that had that, and it made me laugh because it was on Facebook like 4 days after the twisted tea incident had happened. It finally hit Facebook, and I'm just like,
I love that video.
Oh my god, I listened to a Dr. Dre remix with it. I listened to a Dave Matthews Band remix with it.
I think if I'd have been in that convenience store, I would have just started slow clapping.
Paid for that man's groceries.
Uh-huh. Like, hey, man, let me buy you a drink. You did something I don't have the balls to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's one of those things where August Wilson's plays, I love them to death, but dear God, some of them hurt. And this is one of them that just, punch to the heart.
It's...
But this was so well done. It was so well acted. It was so well directed, so well produced.
It was well done on all fronts.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, and that's why, it'd be one thing if it was shitty, and I'd be like, meh, it didn't make me feel anything, but that's the reason it makes me feel. And it just...
Yeah. And there was enough music in it for it to classify technically as a musical for us, so...
And, it's about music, and it's about that, so we can work it in there.
It kind of works,
And it'll be a precursor to the Gauntlet of Black History Month that will be...
I'm not doing as many episodes this year. We've already talked about it, or this upcoming year, because...
Thank you for listening to the White Man.
Yes. That was 3 a week was a mistake.
Yes.
Won't do that again.
I mean, they were shorter episodes, but you researched your ass off. You did so much stuff that we haven't posted because you did readings of plays
I still need to look into getting rights to those.
You should, because our wonderful listeners deserve to hear you reading these very powerful and impactful plays.
And losing my shit at Rachel.
So...
Want to hear Kay have a breakdown? Listen to them read Rachel.
So, Kay.
Yes.
This is our last show of the year.
This is our last show of the year.
This is our last show of 2020.
Yes.
And we're ending on a kick to the nuts.
Yes, we are. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do like a mini episode and watch the Rudolph's Happy New Year, and it won't count as an episode because episode 100 is going to be the Warrens. And then you can watch Rudolph's Shiny New Year and we can laugh about how weird that one is. As a mini-sode. Because that's a New Year's musical. And it's weird as balls.
That's with the New Year's baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have 1 or 2 brain cells that remember it.
That's the weirdest shit. Maybe we'll do that and just post a quick mini episode on New Year's Day, and I'll throw it together and be like, here's look at the keys, look at the keys.
So that is to be determined. Don't hold your breath, listeners.
We'll see. If my lungs let me, we'll do it. If not, then we'll see you in late January.
Yes. So
for the Warrens.
So for listeners who have not been with us through last year as well, Kay and I will be taking the month of January off.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be bringing you I will be bringing you the 2020 recap in the 2nd annual Warrens Awards. That'll be coming to you the last week of January, before Kay graces your ear holes with Black History Month Round 2.
Yes, and those will be rated PG. I'm not going to say G because little bitty babies probably shouldn't listen.
If you want to make it G, you have to have me not talk. Like that is the only way that it's going to be G.
There won't be as many inappropriate. There will be it'll be Animaniacs level inappropriate jokes.
There might be some innuendos, but even then I have to be careful.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I have to be on my best behavior because Kay wants the Black History Month episodes to be usable in a classroom for education purposes.
Yes.
And I, Warren, am not usable in a classroom for profanity reasons. So.
Oh my hell. Thank you all so much for listening throughout this year and
we made it
supporting
another
us.
Year.
We made it another year.
Season 2 of Tone Deaf.
Season 2 of Tone Deaf. That's a wrap. We've got a tired dog right behind us who's like, why are you at the stupid box? Why are you still in the stupid box? You got off work early. What? Why? Why?
All this stupid box.
All this stupid box. Give me another cookie box. You still didn't open one of your Christmas cookie boxes.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the box that has her toys in it.
Yeah, that you didn't open because you got full.
She's like, don't shame me, Mom.
Don't box shame me. But thank you all so much for listening. We truly appreciate it. We truly appreciate y'all for this whole year.
Thank you so much for your continued support.
Yes, please have a safe New Year's. Try to stay distant, y'all. I know that it's hard, but we gotta see you next year too. So, and gotta see you at the end of the year. You gotta know what shenanigans we get up to. So, stay safe.
So thank you all so much again for listening to this week's episode. If you want to reach out to Kay and I, you can do so at our home base, which is tonedeafmusical.com. There we have links to our social medias. We have our Instagrams, our Twitters, our Facebooks, as well as a link to the Cast Junkie Discord server, where we have our own not safe for work channel.
It is not safe for work.
Come in, say hi, talk about musical theater, just shoot the shit, or talk about whatever.
Post pictures of your dog.
Post picture of your animal, and we'll tell you how cute they are. And if you'd like to support us further, you can go to Patreon, which is also Tone Deaf Musical. Mm-hmm. And there we have multiple tiers, as well as some bonus episodes. And, I will say, let's have some positivity, some thoughts and prayers, and let's hope that 2021... is the beginning of hopefully turning the corner on some of this ugliness, and hopefully we can start to have a positive outlook on the future.
Absolutely.
And everybody,
and one last little bit of housekeeping, because if you want to help out in a way that's not, doesn't cost any money because times are tight, hop onto iTunes, hop onto Podchaser, do a 5-star review, just say Tony 1. Tony 1.
I get it.
But yeah, you can do that because it does help out the podcast. But as you were saying, I don't want to sound like I'm just numbers minded. But no, seriously. We love all of you. We want you to stay safe. We want you to stay healthy as much as you can. And just provide some positivity to people around you too. Like it's been a shitty year. It's been hell. Let's try to make we're not going to say anything like, "Oh, next year's going to be our year," because we're not putting that out in the universe. But make next year better. Make next year livable. Because that's what we can do. And just, say nice things to your friends. Say nice things to your family. Try to say nice things to yourself, too.
That's a very good point, Kay. Self-love is very hard.
Yes.
And especially in a year that is very difficult and very isolated for a lot of people. Remember to be kind to yourself.
Yes, please. Please take care of yourselves. We may see y'all before the Warrens, but if not, we'll see you end of January.
According to Kay, everything from now until the Warrens will be bonus episodes if we do anything, because Kay is very insistent that the Warrens round 2 is episode 100.
I do not count bonus episodes in the episode count. I don't care what iTunes says.
Kay's putting a lot of pressure on me, guys.
The Warrens is episode 100.
I gotta try and make the Warrens super good this year.
Luckily, no audience inside the house. So good. So, thank you all. We love you. Please stay safe. That'll be it for this year. I'm Kay.
I'm Warren.
And this has been Tone Deaf. Look at that dog. Look at that dog. Cutie girl. She's a cutie girl. Her nose twitched. Oh, did your nose twitch? Her nose twitched. And her eyes open.